Join us at Women of Courage and celebrate the achievements of women. Before we begin, we're going to take a few moments to collect ourselves and to relax before we engage into our discussion. What we need to do is to focus now on bringing positive energy into our lives and into the world. The energy that we project every day is the same energy that we get back. We have all seen those people that can walk into a room and they glow. People want to be around them. People feel better being in their presence. That's the energy that we need to create. And once we learn how to do this, our lives will be filled with greatness. We will attract that positive energy, and how we can do this is by changing our outlook, meeting every day with gratitude, thankfulness, optimism, and once you do this, you will see a change in yourself. I want you to take a moment and close your eyes. Think about everything positive in your life: family, friends, a career, your faith. All of this is how you start your day. Every morning when you wake up, I want you to think about what is positive in your life. I want you to list 10 reasons why your life is amazing. You will see the change. You will be changed. You will begin to attract life's blessings. Lead with gratitude. Be thankful and think positive. Good afternoon, and thank you for tuning in. This is Gloria Lee, the moderator for the show Women of Courage. Wherever you are in the world, I need you to know one thing right now. You are amazing. I know you might be upset. I know you might be hurting. And I know you might be frustrated. I know because all of these things happened to me. I was homeless for 2 years, and all I had was a computer, my son, and a car. I want you to know you still have a purpose in life, and it is my job to help you believe that again. Do you want to believe? Can you see that the divorce was not meant to take you out? Can you believe that the lost house and the lost job is a setup for something greater? By the end of this broadcast, you'll be injected with so much that you cannot help but believe again. And I am going to help you do just that. Are you ready? I got some things I want to share with you. And I will even make suggestions on books and activities that you can implement, which will ultimately bring healing and wholeness to you. If you are ready to be healed, if you're ready to be whole, just jot down the pointers I give and watch your life transform. No matter what happened, no matter whose fault it was, today is a new day, and your time to live and be free is now. Join me in this journey to wholeness. Your time for total healing is now. Today you shall recover. Wholeness, healness, and peacefulness is in the mind. That is where all battles for life end and begin. I had already written an article for this month's show and next month's show, but something in my spirit said print this article in the newspaper and also discuss it on my show. I ignored the urging until the urging got louder and louder. Then I realized that maybe God was telling me to publish this article and to discuss this article on my show because someone was in need. This article was needed by someone. Whoever you are, I want you to know that when you read this article in the Detroit Native Sun or hear this article on my show, God sent this information to you. This is an excerpt from the book God's Encouraging Word. God's encouraging word was written to accomplish two things. It was written to raise the spirit and to comfort the weary. It was also written to give courage to the faint at heart and to teach one how to fight. You shall be the judge as to whether we succeeded at our task. We hope to demonstrate that courage is the most important ingredient in life, and that when you exercise your courage against an unknown enemy or an obstacle, you are also exercising your faith in God. The more faith you have in God, the greater your commitment will be to winning and the more courage you will exhibit. Happiness and courage are intertwined. You cannot have one without the other. There is no happiness without courage. Living on your knees is humiliating and unmanly. Most men or women who are defeated in battle are defeated because of the lack of courage. They fail to believe in themselves. The battle is not lost because the opponent was more ferocious or braver or stronger. The battle is lost because the opponent was more confident. Most people or women who are defeated lose the battle at the starting gate. They never get into the ring. They never run a lap around the track. Their minds are plagued with self-doubt. They are constantly saying to themselves, what if? What if she doesn't like me? What if I can't find a job? What if the university does not accept me? When a person's mind is filled with thoughts of what if, that person is defeated before he or she gets up to bat. That is why so many college freshmen never finish college. These children go through the hassle of taking a SAT test, applying to 100 colleges, driving to the university, finding a spot in the dorm, and the first time they flunk a test or the professor tells them they may not be college material, they quit. They have no staying power. They have no will. They scamper off home, allowing someone else to define their destiny. Courage, like anything else, must be exercised. If you do not exercise courage, you will begin concentrating so much on your fears that you will not be able to meet the challenges of the day. Your mind will be so filled with fear that you will not recognize the obvious. To develop courage, one must consistently face his or her fears. You can face your fears by first recognizing when you are afraid. Be honest with yourself. Admit to yourself when you are afraid. I am afraid to apply for a job. I'm afraid I will not know what to say or how to counter the interviewer's questions or how to promote myself. Fear can be overcome when you identify the fear, when you take time to examine your fears. To overcome your fear, you must be honest with yourself. You must confront your fears by asking yourself, exactly what am I afraid of? What is causing my fear? Do not camouflage your fear by telling yourself a lie. Openly admit to yourself when you are afraid. Identify specifically what is troubling you. Then confront your fear with a solution. Fear can be overcome with the word of God because God said, take me into battle with you and you will win. All of God's promises are affixed in triumph. All of God's words are prophecies. Whenever God speaks, he speaks in the affirmative. Pray for insight into your problem. Ask God for instructions. King David took God into battle with him. Saul took God into battle with him. Saul was undefeated until he defied God. If you want to overcome your fears, take God into battle with you. You will soon learn that when you believe God is with you, fear will leave you. And for heaven's sakes, please learn to read. Go to your local library and learn to read. Fear dissipates with knowledge. The more you know, the more confidence you will exhibit. Try reading a book a month. Change the television channel to your local PBS station. Watch the Discovery Channel or the History Channel or the Biography Channel. Find out what children are doing around the country. Go to a museum. Do something to bring new information into your life. The weather changes every day, so should you. If you are afraid that you're going to lose your job, start making preparations now to learn another skill or another trade. Do not say to yourself, there's nothing I can do. Do not sit there developing headaches because you feel helpless with no control over your life. Stop believing your happiness and sole existence is in the hands of your employer. It is not. Your existence and fortune is in the hands of God. Give yourself a break. You have options. You're not paralyzed where you cannot help yourself. Now consider this. You believe there is a chance you can lose your job, right? You tell yourself there's nothing I can do. All I can do is sit here and wait for the inevitable. So you wait until you lose your job. Then what? As time goes on, you will find something else to do. So it was not true when you told yourself the first time that you were going to lose your job, that there was nothing you could do. Because time brought about change in your circumstances, and you got up and brought about a change in your life by learning to do something else. Therefore, instead of sitting there telling yourself there is nothing I can do, get up and take action. Consider the job market. Sit down at the kitchen table and list all of the various skilled trades. Where is there a need? Ask yourself, can I cross train? Can I learn to be an electrician, plumber, or heating and contractor person? Can I learn to draw blood? Can I learn hospital billing? What is happening at the college? What will be the time and cost for retraining? After you answer all of these questions, develop a plan. Talk to your wife or talk to your husband. Ask him or her to get another job so that you guys can have extra money to pay for your retraining. Go to school at night or get your GED while your wife is working the second job. This is why it helps to have good relationships at home. Your girlfriend on the side is not going to work a second job for you. Begin looking into possibilities of a student loan or consider consolidating your debt so that you will only have a house note to pay in the event that you do lose your job. Better still, you and your wife can get a second job on the weekend and pay down your debt so when the two of you have to rely only on one salary, you will not have so many bills to pay. Pay down your debt. You can take a part-time job anywhere at the dry cleaners, cleaning office buildings at night. There is nothing wrong at working at McDonald's or Wendy's on the weekend or in the evening. All you want is the money to pay down your debt. Your primary goal is to protect your assets. No one has to know that you're working a second job unless you tell them. If you are an executive and you're afraid of appearing unstable to your neighbors, or you do not want your neighbors or co-workers to know you're working a second job, get a second job in another city and don't tell your children. You can make all of these decisions while you are working at the job you have now where you are expecting to be laid off. You can begin retraining at night while you are waiting to receive your pink slip. Your confidence will build because you have a plan in action. When a problem presents itself, the last thing you need to do is be afraid. Regardless of what happens, you will be better off because you took action. If you are laid off, you will be in a better position than you would have been if you had done nothing. If you do lose your job, you will have a second trade and your debt will be reduced. This should elevate your self-esteem. You will feel resilient. Your faith in the future will be restored. You will begin to believe you can cope with anything because you have a backup plan you can put into motion at any time, and the bonus is your debt will be reduced. The future will look brighter and brighter. Always, when a problem arises, take action. Define the problem, formulate a plan, believe in God, and look for God's favor. Have faith, courage will come. Only a fool spends his or her time talking all day. A smart person takes action. A fool is a person who does not know when to stop talking or when to speak. A fool is a person who is not interested in what anyone else has to say. He or she is so filled with their own point of view and recriminations that they cannot hear. A fool is a person who talks so much that he or she does not notice when their listener has grown quiet. A fool never realizes the listener has stopped talking and they are having a conversation with themselves. There is nothing like going straight to a solution from a problem rather than agonizing over what might happen. Read God's Word. His Word will help you overcome your fears. Nowhere in the Bible will you find God speaking in the second or third person. Nowhere in the Bible is God's actions predicated on the word if. He says, I will. He speaks in the affirmative. Remember Muhammad Ali? Do you really believe he was never afraid? Do you really believe he was without fear? Muhammad Ali overcame his fears by focusing on the future. He focused on winning. He did not allow his time to be consumed with thoughts of losing. He trained and trained and trained. He trained so he could walk in the ring without fear. There's nothing wrong with being afraid. It is what you do with your fear that truly determines the outcome of your controversy. The problem with you may be that you have made a habit of speaking negatively and seeking negative people to reinforce your lack of progress. The key to facing your fears is to question your assumptions. Ask yourself, how much information do I have that is based in fact? And how much information do I have that is based on the assumption? If you want to die an early death, keep making assumptions and allowing these assumptions to govern your life. Ask yourself, what am I afraid of? And then ask yourself, why am I afraid? What can I do to eliminate this fear? Be specific when you're talking to yourself. Then you can see the fallacies in your thinking. Speak to yourself out loud. You need to hear what you're telling yourself. Consider King David. King David did not say to himself, Goliath is bigger than I am and no one has been able to kill him because I can't defeat him. I will lose if I go up against him. David said to himself, my people need to defeat the Philistines. We can defeat the Philistines if I defeat Goliath. So I need to concentrate on how to kill Goliath. David took action. David did not let the assumption that Goliath could not be defeated cause him to doubt his ability. The assumption commonly held by everyone did not stop David from trying. In other words, he did not walk away from his responsibility. He did not sit in the house all day smoking marijuana because he was afraid to go and apply for a job and that he might be rejected. He did not get drunk because he did not think anyone would hire him. He did not listen to the soothsayers or the television broadcasting the unemployment rate. He did not avoid facing his adversary. He stood up and faced the day. He concentrated on the problem at hand, how to kill Goliath. After considering all the tools available to him, David used a slingshot to slay Goliath. How many of you are sitting there thinking, I am 60 years old. There's nothing left in life for me. The Lord is coming for me. Since you do not know when the Lord is going to call you, why should you stop living in anticipation of God's call? Since you do not know when God will call you, you might as well get up and try to do something worthwhile with the rest of your life that you have left. Life is to be lived. The operative word is lived. God did not put you on earth for you just to exist. There are things to do and places to go and people to see. So why do you insist on thinking just because you're 60 years old that your life is over. You are saying these things to yourself because you are afraid. You refuse to allow yourself to imagine. Why do you keep limiting yourself by saying, girl, the doctor got me on nitroglycerin. I can barely make it to church on time. What you're actually saying to yourself is life is over. There's nothing left to do but wait on God. I guess God will be calling me soon. Focusing on thoughts like these will hasten your death. Until God calls you, you should be in the midst of living. Did you ask the doctor how long could a person who is taking nitroglycerin expect to live? Did he tell you he didn't know? If the doctor does not know how long you have, how can you know how long you have? Did God come down to earth and tell you, okay, it's about time for you to go, so you need to get ready? Think about this for a moment. The doctor's job is to specialize in health care. So if he does not know how long you have to live, how can you? Another thing, who told you you were supposed to get scared when a doctor tells you you have cancer or heart disease? The world told you to be scared. God didn't tell you to be scared. The Bible tells you you are supposed to ask the church to pray for you. When a doctor gives you bad news, you should ask the doctor what can be done. If he says nothing, then you have the wrong doctor because he's not a fighter. There's always something that can be done, even if it's only the two of you praying. The next time you encounter fear, think about the United States Marines. They believe in only one thing, and that is winning. They refuse to accept defeat even when they are staring the enemy in his face and they can smell his breath. The reason why the Marines never consider defeat is because they know their team members. The Marines know how they were trained. They know there is not one Marine who would not risk his or her life to save them. This occurred in Afghanistan in 2005. One Navy SEAL died trying to save another Navy SEAL. It is always God, country, and the Corps. Marines believe as long as there is a Marine standing, there is hope. This is not blind obedience. It is resolve. The Marines know their code is never to leave a man behind on the field of battle. As long as that temperance remains, a Marine will never be defeated. Marines fight until the death. Death is not an option, nor is death a defeat. I am going to pause for a second to take a short break while you listen to information regarding willpower and encouragement. It is all a matter of learning new behaviors. And please remember, it is easier to build strong minds than to repair injured people. What I said is a modification of a quote by Frederick Douglass. He said, it is easier to build strong children than to repair broken men. Now,
Are you a woman seeking solace? Or are you a woman in the need of the comfort of prayers? Or are you one distressed and disturbed? It doesn't matter your niche. The Prayer Jar is a book for you. It deserves your study table. Gloria Lee, a fellow woman, writes this book inspirationally to address your prayer needs in every situation. The book not only brings you closer to God, but it also leads you to a mature, prayerful life. The printing is in black and white. Don't wait. Go to touchedbythelight.us/regular.publications to get your copy instantly for $14.95 only. The Prayer Jar, a Christian book for your prayer life.
Every day we wake and drive to work, and we see people walking around, smiling, giving the appearance of happiness, and we envy them. We wish that our lives were like theirs. We drive home and turn on the television, and we see people walking around smiling at their friends and spouses, and we envy them, and we wish we could live a life just like theirs. These thoughts bring misery into our lives because we believe what our eyes see. We accept what is in front of us as being true. We do not see the makeup artist in the background making the final touch-ups to the actor's face. We do not see the diet pills the actors shovel down their throats at night so they can avoid eating. We believe what we see, and what we see makes us miserable. We want to trade places. We begin to think, why could it not have been me? Why could I not have a car like that? Why could I not have a wife like that? Why could I not have a husband like that? Why could I not have a house like that? On and on the questioning continues until finally we are dissatisfied with the world around us. Why could I have not been born to parents like that? All these questions force us to turn inward, and we attack ourselves. We begin to say, I thought Mary would make a wonderful wife when I married her. Now she has grown fat. She complains every day. She never stops. I wake in the morning and she complains. I drive to work and she calls complaining. I come home at night and she complains. Will nothing change? Or you think, I thought Tom would make a great husband. Now I know all he thinks about is the next woman he's going to take to bed. I'm tired of watching him. I just don't care anymore. If he wants to take the entire neighborhood to bed, I don't care. How did I get here? Am I destined to live a life I do not want? A life I hate? Is there nothing going to change? Every day we make changes, we negotiate with ourselves. We make comparisons and we come up short, and we become more and more unhappy. This is why you must take action. Otherwise, your unhappiness will lead you to alcohol, drugs, petty feuds at work, extramarital affairs, obesity, then death. Yes, unhappiness can lead to death. This is why you must take control over your life. No matter where you find yourself, you must take control of your life. Taking control will not be immediate, but the more you work at reclaiming your life and restoring yourself, control will come. You must be careful when you start your reclamation process because others around you will not want you to change. They will want you to remain the unhappy person you have always been. If you decide to return to school, keep it to yourself. If you decide to buy a new house, keep it to yourself. If you decide to move out of state, keep it to yourself. People have gotten used to the old you, and the new you may have problems exerting authority over your life with others and putting a down payment on the future. You simply may want to learn to play the piano. Do not listen when someone tells you you're too old to learn to play. If you want to learn to play the piano, do just that. Read the ads in the paper and find a teacher or contact a local school for an instructor and begin learning to play the piano. This is your life, not anyone else's. Have you noticed how mean some older people are? The meanest comes from dissatisfaction. They spent their entire life doing what was expected of them, doing what someone else told them to do, and now they are 65, 70, or 80 years of age. They realize they never did what they wanted to do. Is that not enough to make one angry? Communication is the key. We spend a great deal of time learning to communicate with others. We should spend an equal amount of time learning to communicate with ourselves. We need to stay in touch with ourselves over the years. We need to ask ourselves, what is next? Am I following someone else's playbook? Are there any changes I can make to my life that will make me happy? After you determine what these changes are, you need to sit down and assess how easy or difficult these changes will be to achieve. The books You Are the Prophet of Your Life and The Devil's Cauldron give a different perspective on self-assessment. Knowing how to relate to others is just as important as knowing how we relate to ourselves. You'll be surprised at the reading. The books are not any other. The books are a good exercise for a reality check. The full complement of books on this website was written at great cost to the writer. Jealous, envy, and even hatred was explored. You will find Be Not Defeated in Hard Times, an acclamation to the human spirit. If you do not entertain defeat, You will keep on walking, talking, and working until you win. It is all a matter of goals and asking yourself, what do I want? You may say you want an F-150, but are you willing to work a second job to buy one? Or will you tell your wife why this truck is so important to you that you have to have one? It is all a matter of goals and self-examination. Why do you have to buy a dress every week? Why are you always trying to get the attention of Betty's husband? Out of all the men in the state, you have to try and attract someone else's husband? What does Betty have other than her husband that you envy, so that you have to take her husband to bed? Why was it necessary for you to sneak a peek in her dresser drawers and see how many panties she's had? Why does it make you feel better to humiliate others? Think about it. Why? Read and find your way out of the mess you're in. Reading and considering another point of view can incite you to a new idea or spark your imagination that will lead you to change.
I am going to pause for a second to take a short break while you listen to information regarding willpower and encouragement. It is all a matter of learning new behaviors. And please remember, it is easier to build strong minds than to repair injured people. What I said is a modification of a quote by Frederick Douglass. He said, it is easier to build strong children than to repair broken men. Now for my break.
Are you a woman seeking solace? Or are you a woman in the need of the comfort of prayers? Or are you one distressed and disturbed? It doesn't matter your niche. The Prayer Jar is a book for you. It deserves your study table. Gloria Lee, a fellow woman, writes this book inspirationally to address your prayer needs in every situation. The book not only brings you closer to God, but it also leads you to a mature, prayerful life. The printing is in black and white. Don't wait. Go to touchedbythelight.us/regular.publications to get your copy instantly for $14.95 only. The Prayer Jar, a Christian book for your prayer life.
Hi, I decided that at the end of every show for the next year, I would share excerpts from a book that I believe would enhance your life and make you a stronger thinker and problem solver. All characteristics that will help you win at life and raise stronger and healthy children. Many of you turn your nose up at reading, or you snub the advice that you must read in life to succeed, or you compare the cost of a book to getting a new pair of shoes or getting your hair done or your nails done. The reason why you make these cost comparisons is because you do not truly value a book. A book is a magnificent instrument that can change the course of your life and the lives of your children. In later shows, I plan to discuss with you how a book changed the lives of certain people. I understand that you do not earn a lot of money, and this money is valuable to you because of all the things you see advertised that you desire, and you do not want to spend a lot of money on a book. A new pair of shoes is more valuable to you than a book. If you truly cannot afford a book, then you need to go to the library and take your children with you for a day of reading. You must gird your loins and proceed at educating yourself. Some of you seem to think that having a conversation with your stupid girlfriend or your stupid boyfriend will help you more than reading a book, when actually having a conversation with your loudmouth girlfriend or loudmouth boyfriend is merely a cathartic, allowing you to blow off steam and proclaim how life has been so unfair to you. What you do not realize is that the advice coming from your do-nothing girlfriend or your do-nothing boyfriend is advice coming from a fool. Your do-nothing girlfriend is a sexual opportunist looking for a man she can impress with her body. When her vagina fails her, what will your girlfriend do but go to work at McDonald's or Wendy's at the age of 60 and continue to spread her ignorance at church. Her daughter will be on the street and her son in prison. She will never realize that her life is the result of the decision she made not to educate herself through reading. All her life, she felt that she had something better to do than reading. She had something better to do than reading with her children. She had something better to do than working with her children. And that was going to the bar, trying to entertain a man, or trying to find some man that would buy her a pair of shoes. A man spending money on her was more important than educating herself. In later shows, I'm going to spend a great deal of time giving you some examples of fools. These are people who think they are smart, willing to trade their body and integrity for a dollar bill. These people end up in the cemetery after lamenting each and every day of their lives about their unfulfilled dreams. Do not be upset by the use of the word fool. You tell me if a woman is not a fool to instruct her grandson to kill her husband for a $25,000 life insurance. Let that sink in for a moment. Instead of instructing her grandson to make something of his life, the grandmother instructs her grandson to become a murderer, to kill his grandfather. I have this anecdotal advice for you about reading. Listen to this short true story. A friend and I were talking. She said a woman she knew called her and sought to renew their friendship. During their conversation, the woman told my friend that President Trump had done so much for black people, and that's why she voted for him in 2016, and she was going to vote for him again in the upcoming election. My friend asked her a question. She said, "Tell me some of the things that Trump has done for black people." The woman said, "A whole lot." My friend persisted and asked her to name one thing that Trump had done for black people. The woman could not. The woman kept using the phrase, "a whole lot of things." My friend said after a while she stopped talking. Finally, the conversation was over and my friend hung up. My friend said, as she hung up, she made up her mind right then that she would never renew her friendship with this woman. Now ask yourself why. Why would she not renew her friendship with this woman? You can answer this question in 2 words. The woman was a poor thinker. She never investigated anything that was told to her. Whether you know it or not, a person who is a poor thinker, who does not examine his or her thinking, is a very dangerous person indeed. Think about it. To supplement what you are learning today, I suggest you read the book A Christian is Never Desperate. The information you read will help you lay a foundation for dealing with negative people, fear, and avoidance. This book is especially good for the woman or man who is just divorced, or the man who lost his girlfriend, or the woman who has lost her boyfriend, or the man or woman who is starting a new business. In other words, if you are full of fear, you can learn to stand up. It is just a matter of developing good behavior and trying over and over again, learning from your mistakes. If you email us at murderedvoices@gmail.com, we can tell you how to obtain the book, The Christian is Never Desperate. It sells for $9.95. Believe me, you will enjoy reading the book over and over again, and there is much to learn. A Christian is Never Desperate is not available in bookstores. You can only obtain the book through the Women and Children Restoration Ministry out of Ann Arbor. Unlike bookstores, the proceeds realized from the sale of the book go to programs that help women and children in stress. The book tells you that you can be victorious over adversity. A Christian acts and lives by faith. God always has a miracle for you. He gives you the facts you need to make important decisions, to be successful, and to overcome mediocrity. A Christian is Never Desperate is another one of our pocket-sized devotionals that you can keep in your car, in your purse, or at work whenever you need to reach for something that will strengthen you to fight the day. When a problem strikes, when the horizon looks gloomy and gray, it is not time for despair. It is not time to act as if there is no hope. It is time to tell the storm that God is with you and there is nothing to fear. You can read the book at touchedbythelight.us. You can read the first chapter of the book and watch a video. This book was not written to indoctrinate you into the cult of being a Christian. We do not ask you to follow God blindly. The book was written to help you stand against soothsayers who do not want you to prosper. A Christian is Never Desperate discusses the trinity of trouble, which is worry, doubt, and fear. Are you the person like the Jews in the desert who murmured and doubted and argued with Moses and Aaron concerning their faith when they encountered the trinity of trouble, worry, doubt, and fear? The book A Christian is Never Desperate is for people who have encountered the trinity of trouble. Worry, doubt, and fear will put you in the grave if you let it. Men carried around demons for years, long times until the demons start to take over. Worry is the repetition of one or several thoughts of doom. Doubt is the everlasting question, is something right or wrong? Fear is always being afraid. Worry, doubt, and fear can destroy your continence. These emotions can land you in the hospital or on the psychiatric couch. Drugs and alcohol are only temporary fixes to making you feel good. The book Christian is Never Desperate tells you that you do not have to succumb to these emotions. You do not have to drug yourself with pills and alcohol. A Christian is Never Desperate tells you it is time to change the way you live. Today can be a major turning point in your life. When you want something that you have never had, you must do something that you have never done. So if you want to change your life forever, you must change your behavior today. If you are struggling to control your life, here's an opportunity for you to change. Pick up a book and read it. We are just as responsible for the things we do as we are responsible for the things we do not do. This is the day you can change. Make your life exciting again. Get out of the rut. You can change your world one step at a time. There is no reason why you cannot reach for your dream. Remember, if you are feeling lost, come join us on Saturday and see what you can do when you work with like-minded women. Here are some questions for you. What is desperation? What causes desperation? What leads to desperation? Why can't desperation be managed? The dictionary defines the word desperation as a noun, as lost hope and surrender to despair, a state of hopelessness leading to rashness. The synonyms for despair are despondence, forlornness, and hopelessness. The dictionary goes on to provide a sentence for the meaning of despair. She felt overcome by desperation, the desperation of severe poverty. They hired me out of desperation because they couldn't find anyone else. As you read the definition of the word desperation, one becomes surrounded by gloom. This is a dark word, a word no one wants to use very often. One would say your life sucks if you are desperate. Desperation is not a happy occasion. Desperation is an emotion that can lead you to kill someone, to commit adultery, to cheat at work, or to commit a foolish act. A desperate person feels there is no way out. They are boxed into one behavior. Thoughts run through their mind. I have to do this or else. I have to try this even though I don't think it will work. Maybe I can win. These are the questions and situations we explore in A Christian is Never Desperate. The supposition is if you believe in God, that God should appear in your life causing you not to commit a desperate act. There should be enough information in God's Word to cause a man or a woman to reconsider acting desperately. Below are four headlines discussing the crimes four grandmothers are accused of committing. What does these women, what caused or what drove these women to break the law? Why did these women think they had to sell drugs or have their husband killed for money? Look at the headlines. Friday, February the 17th, 2012, the News 8 broadcast reported grandmother arrested in drug bust in Ansonia, Connecticut. Friday, April 5th, 2012. The following article, American grandmother jailed on drug charges, was published in the Jamaica Observer. Either the television or someone made Jane Carmichael, age 52, believe drug smuggling was easy. This assumption will now cost her 12 years of her life. April 13, 2012. Remember, the following article, marijuana grandma arrested, was reported in the news broadcast in Florida. April 10, 2013. The following article, grandmother arrested with grandson in murder plot, was reported. Thursday, January the 2nd, 2014. The following article said, grandmother arrested for calling 911 to report a beer emergency. This was reported by Fox 8 at GHPB. All of these articles reported elderly women acting badly. The news is shocking. You can't help but ask yourself, what happened to these women? How can a grandmother sell drugs or ask her grandson to commit murder? Grandmothers do not sell drugs or have their grandsons kill their husbands for for money. Something is seriously wrong. What made these women act the way they did? What caused elderly women to act out of character and break the law? Selling drugs is not a traffic ticket. Selling drugs is a felony, a crime that causes years in prison. We believe these women were desperate. We think they failed at life and wanted money in their old age, and they were willing to take a chance to get the money. What made these women act desperate? We explore desperation in the book A Christian is Never Desperate. These women had a problem, and they decided to use a bad method to solve that problem. One facet of problem solving that can lead to a better solution is changing the way one thinks. Most people persist in doing the same thing over and over and over again, expecting a different result, when actually what the person needs to do to solve many of their problems is to change the way they think and to change the associates they live around and to begin acquiring information that from a different source. People need a stratified information source, not a localized information source. That means the same old friends. What leads to desperation is when a person's thinking something is imminent, is going to happen, and there's no way out except to commit a desperate act, like stealing or lying. Read and study the book A Christian is Never Desperate. See if you can find information that will help you avoid being desperate. The choices we make change who we become, causing us to say, who would I be now if only I had done such and such a thing? Where would I be if I had married Bob instead of Charlie? Think about it. Who would I be now if I had just changed? Once you read A Christian is Never Desperate, you will discover that the book was written to help you manage your life by helping you examine your behavior. The discussion is to give you something solid on which to stand mentally, because examining oneself is a pretty shaky proposition. It is not easy asking oneself extremely personal questions and expecting an honest answer in return. This is why we have chosen certain words for you to examine and relate these words to your behavior. So far, we have discussed 5 words: fear, worry, doubt, assumption, and comparison. We have 2 more words to go. The words are if and laughter. The first 3 words I call the Trinity of trouble. The second 3 words I call the Trinity of death. The granddaddy of them all is the word laughter. Every year, thousands of people enter the hospital because of these words, and many pop pills, drink alcohol to the excess, or take tranquilizers because of these words. During our discussion, did you notice the emotions these words elicit? The reason why we are discussing these words is because words are powerful forces in our life. We are not discussing these words by accident. I mention these words because I want you to realize what a powerful impact they have on your life and the life of your children. The purpose of all of this self examination is the children. In order for your child to live a safe, happy life, you must have the healthy thought life. Children suffer when their parents do not have a happy thought life. Think about it. Doesn't your mood affect the happiness of your children? Children are easily frightened. Children are keenly attached to our emotions and moods. So do not think it is just yourself that you are helping when you listen to these broadcasts or read the books we recommend. Helping you is just the tip of the iceberg because we are influencing incoming generations through the changes you make in your life. You must examine the way you think if you want to live a better life.
Anything that you want in this life can be obtained. You just need to believe. Believe in yourself. You are strong. You are beautiful. You are resilient. You are what we call the women of courage. And your time is now. There are no victims in this life. So I'm asking you, are you ready to make a change? Are you ready to fight for what you want? Are you ready to fight for your dreams? If you are, it starts now. This is the Women of Courage.
Don't be discouraged. Yes, you can live a life you want to and be the person you want to. Be a goal getter. Take this bold step to order and purchase these life-changing books so as to learn the detail of the struggles and limitations women faced before becoming the icons they are today. Then you can avoid mistakes too. I'm going to be honest with you here. There's only one inspirational book which has encouraged me not to be fearful as a woman, but to take a bold but little step to changing my low self-esteem and total life situation positively, so quickly and greatly. My little secret has been the books titled Women of Courage. This book has been so amazing and knowledge-packed. Before now, there hasn't really been a right, perfect time to do the right or perfect thing. Most often than not, I've continued to wait for the right time to have things done, but it always never comes. Not until I got hold of the books, Women of Courage. To gain knowledge and becoming a woman of purpose, only then I was able to create the perfect and right time to grab every opportunity that confronted me. I was strong and determined never to get too comfortable and to stop growing. I was able to use and control my anger and temper for the right course. I became the woman of courage that was not deterred of what people say. I created and took advantage of every opportunity where people saw as limitations. Thanks to the story of many courageous and determined women of history. Interesting, isn't it? The success story of many women who read the book convinced me. Here I am, more refined, courageous, and living the kind of life I have always hoped for. You too can become the woman of courage and purpose everyone would admire, just like me.
Our lessons are viewer supported. If you enjoy our lessons and they have been a help to you, please send the Women of Courage Show a donation. Any amount will help. $1 will help. Spread our message. You can also go to our website, touchedbythelight.us, and purchase the book, You Are the Prophet of Your Life. We support ourselves through book sales. The book is also on sale at the radio station WHPR 160 Victor Street in Highland Park, Michigan, right off of Woodward Avenue. If you do not have internet access, you can make a donation to us by mailing it to Post Office Box 7688, Bloomfield Hills, Michigan 48302. Your support will be greatly appreciated. This video was brought to you by the Women and Children's Restoration Ministries. Why not email us at murderedvoices@gmail.com and learn about the programs we have to assist women. We welcome women who wish to participate. Surely you have a few hours each month to help us with one of our programs. We believe that one of our programs, Recruiting Citizens, The Wall Project, Black Women in Cancer, Teach Someone to Read, will interest you, where you might volunteer once a month to help us. Our primary function is to assist women in changing their lives. Email us today. We would appreciate your help. Join us at the Women of Courage Show every Friday from 3 to 4 p.m. and every Sunday from 8 to 9 a.m. for information that will change your life. You can also visit us at our website, touchedbythelight.us, for more information.